Yeah,
you
it
know?
was so against my nature. And I like once a month I had a breakdown and I didn't know why I was having a breakdown. And part of it was that I was trying to be someone I was not.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. It's time for more Pride Talk. Welcome to our new subscribers as well. We know your time is valuable and we appreciate you allowing us into your homes, cars, workplaces, or wherever you might be listening to this. And for those that may be new to us, Pride Talk is a podcast presented by Nat Pride. You know, being LGBTQ plus and Asian American, we are a minority within the minority, and our stories tend to get lost or not told at all. With Pride Talk, we're taking up space by featuring in-depth conversations with Asian American LGBTQ plus professionals and our allies. Today, we continue our very personal conversation with Dr. Kim Liu. I'm sure you all are wanting to know and hear more about her inspiring story. I'm your host, John Ong, and with me is my friend and co-host, David Moore. Hi, David.
Hi, John. And here we are, about halfway through our second season and this amazing conversation with Kim. And we are so grateful for our corporate sponsor, Molson Coors. Because of their generous support, we are able to bring you this series of insightful, funny, and authentic discussions with folks from our tribe, Asian Americans within the LGBTQ plus community and our allies. So let's get back to Dr. Liu and her fascinating story. In this episode, Kim discusses the role of religion in her family, open relationships, finding her authentic self, and the role her ex-husband played in that process. She also opens up about her battle with cancer, the physical and mental burden of hiding who she is, and ultimately finding peace in living her truth.
So how did you marry this man?
No. I did not marry him. Things didn't work out. The clash was too strong. I moved to Miami afterwards from Utah. And in Utah, I met my ex-husband. Mm-hmm. He was my best friend. Again, I had no family, nobody, and, met him through church and another mutual friend. He was very good to me. And we're really good friends. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm more compatible with this person now. Now I know, right? Second time around, it's not just about checkbox. I need to get along with the person.
Yeah.
And so I got along really well with him, and we were in a relationship. I think 3 years after we were together, we got married. But he proposed right away. I think 3 months into the relationship, he proposed. I'm like, you're out of your mind. Why are you asking me to marry
I have
you?
a question. So was your family religious at all, or did the involvement with the church comes after your college?
I thought they were religious, but it was not until much later I realized they just wanted there to be a morality compass to for my siblings. So growing up, we did go through different religion, and they were just trying to expose us to all the good messages from different religion.
Yeah.
School was Catholic because I was in Latin America. Mm-hmm. Then there was the Mormon church. My parents used to take us every Sunday, and my Asian side of the family, they were Buddhists and Taoists. So we were exposed to different religion. But there was always that. I think the main morality campus was the Mormon church, because they were so based on family. And so my family was very family oriented, and they thought, okay, this is a good religion to raise the kids and focus about family and all these values. But later on, I realized they're not really religious per se, which was a shock for me, because I grew up thinking it was a certain kind of way, and it wasn't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So 3 months into this relationship, he proposed. What did you think?
Yeah, he proposed, and I said no. And I said it's too soon. And I said, let's talk about this a year from now. And 8 months into a relationship, he proposed again. And I said, okay, fine.
Okay, fine.
You were super excited, apparently.
I know. Seriously, I know I'm the worst person ever. He was very disappointed by my reaction. I'm like, wait, this is a proposal? What? Okay, sure. And the next day he's like, so I'm like, oh, we're engaged. Okay, I guess I should wear the ring.
Oh my
So frustrated about the whole thing. Poor guy. I mean, he had a lot of patience to deal with me. I was still trying to figure who I was as a person.
Yeah. How old
And,
were you then? How old were you?
I
when you-
was 21. I was 20 when he and I first met, and 21 by the time he proposed. I felt in that type of thing, I was still very sheltered because I went from, very strict family to being in Taiwan, which I had to hide myself, to church college, so it's still, I didn't get a chance to explore too much about the world or sexuality per se. And I remember talking to him about it and saying, I like girls. And he's like, okay, that's cool. I'm like, oh, really? He's like, yeah, that's fine. I'm like, okay, great. This is wonderful. And of course we ended up having sex and all these different things, but I still felt something was still wrong. And I thought, okay, maybe it's because we're not married. Maybe once I'm married, something magical would happen and everything will be fine. I will finally enjoy being with the opposite sex. That did not happen. I was lying to myself. And we tried so many different things, and counseling and talk and therapy and all these different things. It just wasn't working. And I think it was 1 year into the marriage, and we had since he was my best friend, I talked a lot about things. And one of the things was about, what about open relationship? And it was like so out there, for me, because it's, coming from a very strict family and then religious background and all this, like even talking about open marriage was outside of the box. And I wasn't sure if that was even possible. And he said, no, I want you to try it out. And, and so I met someone and I told him, I really like this girl. He's like, okay, try it out. And I realized what was missing in my life. I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, it's not that something is broken with me. It was the wrong person. But that was a struggle too, because now I'm married to a man, someone that I do love, but I wasn't attracted that way.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to tell my family. I didn't know how to tell his family. And he was struggling with it too, because divorce was not an option in my head. And that the first part, and we were just married a year, so I mean everything is new. But I realized a lot about myself through it. I took a class called Female Sexual Experience, and it was a college course made by Stanford. And it's trying to empower women. It's not only about sexual experience, but about what being a woman is and all the issues that we face as women. And one of the things that we did was the Kingsley scale to see where in the spectrum you are in terms of sexuality. And I was in a group of 10 women. One of them was a lesbian, well, actually 2 lesbian and one was bisexual. And that was the first time I came out in public per se, in that little class when we were talking about, we do like, if you like women or whatnot, and etc. And that was the first time I spoke about it and said it out loud and not just hush hush to someone. I thought I was going to faint.
Let's talk about that experience.
But think how important that was, that your ex-husband was the one that said, okay, go ahead and explore that.
Yeah.
I think we all need that, somebody to say.
Yes. I will be forever grateful for him, because if he never gave me that push, I might still be married to him and thinking something's wrong with me.
And then not happy, right?
Yeah, and not happy. Because I think he knew, but at the same time, because we were young, I was 21, he was 25, 26. I mean, we were both young at the time. And it was very courageous of him to encourage that part of me. Because I had no one that would even say like, oh, it's okay, or you're fine, you're not crazy. Because up till that moment, before I was with him, everybody said, oh, okay, fine, it's just a phase, or don't talk about it. And he was very encouraging. He said, I'm not sure if he thought it was just a stage, perhaps not, I don't know, but he was very encouraging about it. He was encouraging me to find myself.
And he didn't even pass judgment, right? I mean,
no, he didn't at all. And that's why I'm
Go
forever
explore and learn
grateful.
about yourself more. It seems like then.
Yes, he was always encouraging me to become a better version of myself. He was
Yeah.
encouraging me to not be so much in the box because he felt that I was not myself. Like he would ask, why do you talk a certain way when you talk to your mom? Why do you act a certain way when you're with your family? That's not you. And I didn't realize there was a discrepancy, but he saw it and he said, why are you not just you? Why don't you stand up for yourself? Why you let your mom talk to you like that? Why do you feel you have to act a certain way? He felt like there was a discrepancy about who I was as a person and who I was putting like a face that I was putting for the world to see. And he used to say, you don't have to be so diplomatic. You're not a diplomat's child anymore. He would say, you don't have to be so diplomatic. You don't have to be a politician, just be you.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that at first, but slowly, because he and I were together almost 10 years. So it was like formative years of my life. And he was very encouraging. He encouraged me to find out who I am, even though that would mean he would get hurt in the process because
Yeah.
eventually we
Right.
got divorced and it didn't work out.
Right.
But it was very courageous of him to
And
to tell
sort
me,
of selfless too. I feel like, that he was looking out for you as a partner more than
yes.
for
Yes,
himself.
definitely. Because it could have gone so many ways. He could have shut me down or made me feel bad,
Yeah.
which, that first relationship I had made me feel like I was crazy. Because I recall mentioning, I liked girls and he was so against it, made me feel like something was wrong with me.
Yeah.
So I kind of like hide that part of
Yeah.
myself. But yeah, my ex-husband, he was really great as a person, as my best friend, as a partner at a time, because he could have been selfish and see that as a warning sign and said, no, I don't want you to explore, or, he could have, and I would not have known anyway, because I was so trained by my mom of what an Asian wife should be. Like I was in that mode of, I have to, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but, have to be submissive, which I'm not a submissive person at all, but I try to be.
Yeah, whatever your husband says, you do, right? Those sort of
that
teaching,
was the mentality. And
whatever you do,
I
just
tried
make
to-
a happy home for your husband when he comes home. That
Yeah,
idea.
like I try so hard. Oh my goodness, I try so hard.
I can't imagine, Kim. I can't imagine.
I was like, oh my god, I have to be like that perfect wife. I'm married now,
must
I'm
not be
trying. And I'm
breathing.
like,
I can't.
so
It's very suffocating. Even sounding like knowing you for a little bit, and then knowing that you have to fulfill that role is very suffocating. Even just thinking about it.
It was.
It's like
It was
completely
the
against your nature.
Yeah, it was so against my nature. And I like once a month I had a breakdown and I didn't know why I was having a breakdown. And part of it was that I was trying to be someone I was not.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. And I thought, that's that talk in my head again. What is wrong with you? You have a good husband that loves you for who you are, doesn't give you any issue, encourages you to do whatever you want to do. Why are you so unhappy? Just go with the flow. Why are you so against everything? Like, why do you have to be so difficult? That was like me talking to myself.
Just like kind of like the same question you ask about your mom too, right? Earlier as a child too, you asked that question about your mom. Why do you have to be so difficult? Why can't I just listen to my mom? Right? That same message happens again. Now,
and every important moment in my life, I would feel that way. When I was in Taiwan, it was the same thing too. Why do you have to be so difficult? Why do you have to speak your mind? Like all your other female classmates are fine. Just conform.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, no, I don't want to. And it's just like it was inside of me, felt so violent. That there was so much anger towards that voice in my head saying just conform, which is why I left Taiwan 2 years after. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And it just kept, even when I was married, and I kept thinking every month I would have a breakdown. And I thought, oh, it must be the hormones on my period, blame it on my period. But it was not that. It was just that my authentic self was crying for help.
Exactly.
That I was doing something wrong against my own nature.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I didn't understand that. And, my ex-husband, he didn't really know what was going on with me. He didn't understand why I would have a breakdown, but he was very patient, and he would encourage me to, go outside and meet other people and meet people from different cultures. And, he wanted me to find myself because it hurt him so much to see me suffer.
Yeah.
And he, I met a great group of people here in Miami. I created a meetup group for arts and craft, and I found my tribe in that group. It's a group of women in different ages, and everybody's so different. It's so no one conforms at all. Everybody just they are who they are. They stand true to who they are, and I learned so much from this group of friends in the last 7 years or so, I think. And between my ex-husband encouraging me and this group of women being my support system, I realized life can be a different way. It doesn't have to be Asian or Hispanic or, a good wife or, like it doesn't have to be a certain kind of way. And I'm so grateful for all of them that because of them, I realized I can be me, whatever that means, and it's okay to be me. But for the longest time, I was struggling with that and thinking something is wrong with me. I'm broken. I'm ungrateful, all these different things.
So Kim, when you were taking that class, what is it called? Women's sexuality or something? Empowerment?
Yes, Femix.
Where were you? Were you in Utah at that time?
No, I was in Miami already.
You were in Miami. So you're taking a class from Stanford. And
the class originated from Stanford, and then it spread out throughout the country. And so there will be people that are qualified to teach that course and offer it for free for any women that wanted to take. And if you are in school, you could get credit for them. And if you are not in school, you can still take the class just for it.
And you were married at that time when you took that class?
Yes, I was, I think, 6 months married at that time when I decided to take that course.
So when you are able to verbalize your own sexuality in that class, how did that change you?
I felt it was interesting because at a time I said I was bi. I was a bisexual woman. That didn't resonate with me, but I felt like I'm one step closer to finding out who I am. Okay. I was very scared at first, but I realized no one judged me in that group. And some people were surprised because they're like, oh, you're married. I'm like, yes, I know. I am married to a man. And it blew some of the girls' minds in that class. One of my closest friends two of my friends from my art group were in that class with me. And they were very supportive throughout the whole program. And one of them is actually a lesbian. And she was very blasé about the whole thing. She's like, oh, I already knew that. I'm like, what? You already knew? Why didn't you say something? She's like, oh, I was waiting for you to figure it out. So she was a very important person in my life that also helped me find out who I am as a person. I would talk to her, confide with her, and share my experience. And she would give me some feedback without being too pushy. And that was great. I felt relieved when I first spoke to all of them. I was scared first and then relieved. I felt relieved. I said, wow, I think I came out in public. And that night I came home and talked to my ex-husband, and I had a breakdown. I was crying and he didn't understand why I was crying. And I think it was a combination of happiness and sadness, happiness that I made a huge step, and sadness about I cannot believe how I've been living my life up to this point, like realizing how much I was lying to myself, and also happy that I'm not broken.
Right.
There's an answer. That's you find your truth.
A lot of people always ask, well, why do you have to come out? Why do you have to tell these stories? And, because they say it's too painful. Why would you make this choice? And what they don't realize is that when you're not being your authentic self, the pain is actually more painful than what the world can do to you when you come out. Yeah. And that's the point that a lot of people don't understand, because they say, why would you come out and tell the world and put yourself through all of this? And it's like, because where I was just way more painful. Yeah.
Yes, it was. And I did not realize that there were so many things I was not authentic about, and sexuality was a big part, but everything else around it too. And those mental breakdowns that I'll have once a month, they were so damaging, because even though I don't think I'm suicidal, but so many times I thought I don't want to continue anymore. Like it just felt so dark.
Tiring.
Yeah, it was
It
so
drains
tiring.
all
I
your
felt so
energy.
tired of my life, even though from the outside, nothing was wrong with my life.
Yeah.
I had a good husband at the time, good friends, everything was good. But I just felt like a part of me was dying, and I could not figure out why I felt like a part of me was dying. I got really sick actually from all of this, that constant breakdown. I was physically getting sick from it. I actually had cancer around that same time. Like I think, trying to think, about 2 or 3 years before I got married, like I was dealing with cancer, and I think a lot of it had to do with that, not knowing who I was as a person, in that constant struggle of pushing everything down.
Yeah.
Pushing everything down, not express myself, not being who I was, and that made me really sick. But I think releasing that, and I got better eventually, which is great. And I think part of it has to do with when you're authentic to yourself, you are better. Your quality of life improved. Yes, there's trouble coming out. There's a lot of, you don't know what might happen, but at least you're at peace with yourself. You don't have to hide. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to lie anymore. And that lifts a weight off of you.
Yeah.
Right, because you're healing inside.
Yes, it was. And I didn't realize how much of that was affecting me mentally and physically. Having to shut everything down, having to not express myself, having to pretend and conform. That was making me so sick.
We have to be, the parts of our days that we have to interact with other people, but there's every single moment that we have to interact with ourselves. So when you cannot live that 24 hours of being who you are, and I would sacrifice my 12, 13, 15 hours with other people to face discrimination, but being able to be at peace the rest of that time is so crucial, I think. That's why coming out is so important. It sounds like your coming out process, Kim, if you can correct me if I'm wrong, it takes a while. It's not like a clear cut, like a light
switch. Oh yeah, it took a long time for me. I think it started around like 14, 15, when I was 14 or 15. And I wasn't completely out until maybe 26 or 27, when I finally said, okay, that's it. I'm coming out.
Wow. What a great message from Dr. Liu. When you are authentic to yourself, your quality of life improves. And it is such a long and personal journey that each of us have to go on. And not everyone is as fortunate as Kim was to have an ex-husband that was so supportive in the process.
Yeah, I know. That was amazing. He was so supportive and encouraging of Kim finding her truth, even if it was going to cause himself pain. So selfless and so loving. We hear a lot about the negative reactions of coming out and sharing our authentic selves. It's nice to hear the stories of support and encouragement. I wonder how many of our listeners have had that experience before too. So please share your comments with us about our conversation with Dr. Liu. You can email us at pridetalk@nap.org. You can even call us and leave us a voice comment. Our number is 4197-PRIDE-5. That's 4197 PRIDE 5. And of course, you can find all this information in the show notes as well as on our website, pride.nap.org. That's pride.nap.org.
And before we close out this episode, I just want to do a quick shout out to NAP, the National Association of Asian American Professionals, which is a nonprofit organization that cultivates and empowers Asian and Pacific Islander leaders through leadership development, professional networking, and community service. We have received much love and support from the various NAP chapters, and especially the executive team and board of directors. Yes, it's a professional organization, but it truly is like a family. But in this family, there is space for you, and you are welcome and encouraged to bring your whole authentic self. Check us out at nap.org and consider joining the NAP family. We also want to once again thank our corporate sponsor, Molson Coors, for their continued support of NAP Pride and Pride Talk podcast. It's always nice to have corporate sponsors, but it makes us feel extra good knowing that Molson Coors is committed to fostering open and inclusive workplaces where all employees are valued, engaged, and inspired to be the best they can be.
Be sure to join us for the next episode where we discuss the coming out process of Dr. Liu. She shares the amazing support from her ex-husband and her path to leading an LGBT group. Join us next time as we continue this very intimate and open conversation with Dr. Kim Liu. Until then, remember this: representation matters. So be seen, be heard, be loud, and be proud. Bye.
Bye, y'all. The opinions expressed on Pride Talk are solely those of the host and guests and do not represent the views or opinions of our individual employers, NAP, or our sponsors.